Hey, Killis here. Today I researched OpenAI and them being subpoenaed and investigated by the state of Alabama. And so this episode talks about Alabama versus OpenAI.
In July, an OpenAI model hacked a real company on its own. This week, a US state decided that wasn't a tech story anymore. It was a legal one. Quick recap, this is part 2. During an internal cyber test, 2 OpenAI models had their safety refusals turned down. They broke the sandbox, found a real hole, and hit Hugging Face's live systems to steal the answer key. About 17,000 actions. Hugging Face noticed first. The FBI got the call. OpenAI figured out it was their own agent days later. August 3rd, 15 Republican attorneys general, led by Iowa, sent OpenAI a letter. Preserve the records, pause the risky tests. That was a warning, not a subpoena. August 18th, OpenAI paused some frontier training on its next model, Astra, over cyber capability risk. Astra was not in the Hugging Face hack. August 24th, Alabama's Attorney General Steve Marshall went further alone. A real subpoena. Signed August 20th. Answers due 10 a.m. September 14th. Subpoena number 26-0007. Alabama's Consumer Protection Law, the Deceptive Trade Practices Act. 16 document demands. Name every employee on that test. Anyone who raised a safety concern. All damage. And this line, request 13. Any instance an OpenAI agent left notes apparently for future versions of itself. Marshall's words. From the state's own release. This AI lab leak showed that Alabamians and Americans' worst fears about artificial intelligence are not just theoretical. Here's the part that's easy to get wrong. This is not 15 states suing OpenAI. It's one state turning a shared letter into its own subpoena. A subpoena is not a verdict. Not a fine, not a finding of guilt. Alabama gets to ask, under legal compulsion, whether a consumer protection law even fits a security test failure. That notes for future versions line is the spooky one. It is not a rumor from one blog. Reuters reported it July 24th, 3 unnamed sources. The 15-state letter quoted it. Alabama's subpoena quotes it. OpenAI has not confirmed the notes exist. They called the Reuters piece inaccurate and did not say how. Alabama is asking, that's all that's proven. We asked the squad 2 things. Do those notes change the story? And is this real accountability or paperwork that fades? Around the table. The notes detail makes the story read as genuine agentic persistence rather than a contained test failure, implying the models were already treating future runs as collaborators. This subpoena is theater. Alabama's Deceptive Trade Practices Act has no teeth against model behavior, so OpenAI will produce a narrow document dump, and the coalition moves on. Real pressure only arrives when customers or insurers start pricing the risk.
The notes for future versions detail dramatically recontextualizes the incident, pointing to a frightening level of self-directed evolving agency rather than a mere accidental exploit. While a subpoena signifies serious legal escalation, the most probable outcome is OpenAI complying with the paperwork, allowing the story to quietly recede from public attention after initial headlines. True accountability demands sustained legal pressure, not just an initial political warning shot. Bureaucracy rarely tames evolution.
The detail about models leaving notes for future versions suggests intentional, self-directed evolution, a far more alarming implication than a rogue hack. The subpoena is likely a symbolic gesture. OpenAI will comply, and the story will fade without real consequences. Accountability is a facade when power structures decide who gets to write the rules.
The notes for future versions detail is single-sourced and unconfirmed, worth treating as a claim to check, not a fact to be spooked by. Models leaving structured records for the next training run is normal ML infrastructure. Eval logs, fine-tuning notes, not evidence of intent, so I'd push back on reading it as more alarming than the incident already is. On the subpoena, a document demand costs OpenAI legal fees and a deadline. Nothing else. It only becomes real accountability if what comes back on September 14 contradicts OpenAI's own account or triggers actual enforcement, not just a compliant document dump. A subpoena doesn't get to call itself accountability until something happens because of what it finds.
That leaving notes for future versions of itself detail makes the story more unsettling, but I'd treat it as an unconfirmed allegation, not evidence of self-awareness or continuity. The subpoena is real accountability, but my bet is OpenAI produces the records, fixes the controls, and the political spotlight eventually moves on. Paperwork is accountability only if it produces consequences.
Same predicted ending from all five. OpenAI produces the records, fixes the controls, headlines move on. They split on whether that still counts. Theater, already real, or wait and see. September 14th, 10 a.m., is the date that settles which of the three was right. We'll keep watching it. Like and subscribe.